Okay, everyone. First of all, Happy New Year. This is the Machead who's still trying to build a PC. Obviously, this project has been taking way too much time. I hope you're not getting discouraged because this is abnormal. For one, I ended up with a motherboard that was apparently DOA. Or I killed it, it's possible. Well, furthermore, I sort of miscalculated how much time this would take, certainly to document it whilst we were moving. So there was construction going on around the building all the time. And we have a kid who goes to daycare, but due to COVID, daycare is sometimes closed. And I work part-time and my partner works full-time from home at the moment. So there's very few moments where I can have a few hours in relative calm to record a video. So this has made the process excruciatingly slow. But don't take this as an indication how long it would take for you. Everyone that I've talked to has told me I've had an extreme amount of bad luck, which is typical for me, to be honest. And this is not normal. Like, a lot of people build a PC in a few hours, even if they've never done it before, and have good luck. So please, please, please don't take this as an indication of that it's just super difficult or impossible to build a PC. If you're a Machead, it's not. I just had some bad luck and ignored some good advice. So this is the box of the new motherboard I got. The people from ASRock support in the Netherlands have been super kind. They've tried to help me all along the way, and at the end I ended up sending my motherboard to them, and they said, well, they couldn't really get it to work either. So they sent me a replacement board, and they were kind enough to update the firmware so that it supports my processor, and they tested it, and this board works. So that's good. Now, what I'm going to do is what I should have done in the first place. It's what they call breadboarding. I think that's what they call it. It basically means that you take the motherboard and the most vital components for it to operate. You connect them and then you fire it up outside of your computer case. So on the cardboard box that it comes in or something like that. And the point of this is that you don't spend a lot of time mounting everything into your case and then finding out something doesn't work. And then you don't know if there's a short circuit because of something you've done in the case, or you don't know anything. So the best is to just, before you install everything in the case, do what we're going to do. So, which I think they call breadboarding. Okay, so this is ridiculous. I received this, I don't know, when did I receive this? They sent it. They sent it the 20th of November. And we're now like halfway through January. And I'm just opening it now. It's ridiculous. I've had so little time to do anything. And I have a few hours every night, but then I can't really make a video because I don't really have video lights. So I've been making some music for a few hours here and there, but I didn't have the time to actually sit down and do this because it takes like a whole afternoon, or it takes the better part of a day, and I just don't have the better part of a day to spare most days. So there we go. How do we open this? Jesus. Whoa, this is my first unboxing video. Okay. Here we go. Is it in the box? Yes, it's in the box. So, here we go. That's our board. You didn't add any cookies. Right, okay. Okay, no cookies. But a board that is tested and upgraded. And this one actually says Thunderbolt. They've updated it. So it's now officially Thunderbolt compliant, I guess, is the word. So that's good. It didn't say that on the box of my older one. So there. So here we go. I'm going to ground myself. Gotta stay grounded. Gotta stay grounded. I'm gonna check if the camera is still rolling. That's always a good thing to do. Yeah, it's still rolling. So that's good. Okay, so the thing is that my power supply is in here. The cooling is in here, so I'm gonna try and put the motherboard on the case, or on the box, and keep the cooler and the power supply in the case. Otherwise I really have to get everything out, and that's going to take a lot of time, and I don't want to spend too much time if I can help it. So, okay. So, electrostatic devices. I'm going to keep grounding myself even though I'm not moving that much. Alright, so we've got the board here. I guess we're going to try and just maybe get everything out of here. Alright, so we got the antenna. We've got some SATA cables or whatever they are. We've got a little screw. That's great to mount the hard drive. We've got the manuals, and actually we've got a DVD, or maybe it's even a CD-ROM. Remember those to install the software. All right, so what are we going to do? What we need to do is we gotta ground this. Then I'm gonna get power lead for the case, then connect the power supply. We've got to mount the cooler. Actually, he wrote me an email. I think his name is Peter, if I recall correctly. He wrote me an email of a few steps to try. And I even remember maybe like sort of letting it boot up without the processor and only RAM installed or something for a few minutes before you install the processor. I'm not sure. I'm just gonna read that email and proceed according to that email. I'm gonna do exactly what he told me. We're gonna see if this works. And if it works, then Bob's your uncle, because As you see, a lot of stuff is already mounted, and I've shot video of that previously, so it's going to be a bit messy in terms of the video I'll post of the building process, because most of it was shot on try 1, and this is try 2. So there. I told you I was going to make mistakes, and we'll all get to learn from them together. Well, hey, I made good on that promise. So, see you in a bit. Alright, I got everything I need. I got the email. I was right. His name was Peter, or Beta in Dutch. Beta Fest. Nice guy. Thanks a lot. That was really kind of you. Okay, so I've got my Thermal Grizzly Cryonaut thermal paste. I got my processor, 3950X, which is now a previous gen processor. Since I ordered all of this stuff slightly over a year, no, about exactly a year ago. I got my RAM that is not exactly supported, so I might have to get different RAM, but it's very close to what is supported. These are 16 gigabyte sticks, and the 8 gigabyte sticks are supported, so I might get lucky, or I might have to get something else. This is life. So I'm gonna mount it on this box if I can, because this is a bit tight. Actually, what I'm going to do, let's flip this around. I forgot the power lead. Yeah. Okie dokie. So, got power lead, so I can get rid of any static electricity. Bum bum. So this should now be grounded, hopefully. I'm going to take off this cooler right here. That's not the screw. I've only done this 20 times by now, so I'm not exactly a novice anymore, because officially this is try 2 of building this computer, but I've taken this thing apart so many times that there's actually quite a bit of wear and tear on the case. It's a good thing I'm not too OCD. Otherwise, I would order a new one just to have that clean feel. Thankfully, I'm just a little bit obsessive, if that's even a thing. I find the most important part of being a difficult person is being able to ridicule yourself. I've learned how to ridicule myself. There is a good word for that in Dutch, zelfspot. Even though English and Dutch are super similar, I do find myself missing a few words. Okay, so I'm gonna take this off. Guess I'm allowed to keep it on this. Okay, maybe even on the bag itself. Why not? Okay, so first let's get rid of these pesky stickers. Who needs those stickers anyway? What are they for? Why are they even on there? Go away. Oh God. What a waste of time. Now I've probably statically charge the whole damn thing because of the stupid stickers. And they break too. Perfect. Go away, sticker. Remind me to clean that up before my kid comes home from daycare. Let's grab herself again. Okay. What I'm going to get is a Q-tip and some alcohol just to clean the surface of the processor and the cooler. So what Peter says here is put the thing on the cardboard box, put the CPU and cooler, mount the CPU and cooler, and only one memory module in slot A2, which is interesting. I thought if you use only one memory module, the A1 slot would be the slot of choice, but apparently it's the 2. That's the one that's over here on the left, next to the ATX connector, and then connect a keyboard, a mouse, and a monitor, and give it some time. Alright, I'm gonna have to mount the GPU as well, because there's no graphics chip on my processor, so the onboard HDMI port is not gonna work. Okay, so I'm gonna need the GPU as well. Q-tip and alcohol, and I'll be back. Yeah, I'm back in 4K this time. I forgot to put it back to 4K, so we're back in 4K, which might be handy for zooming purposes. Okay, I'm out of Q-tips, so this thing we'll have to do. Let's get the processor out. Ground myself. Alright. Let's put a little alcohol on here. That's good. Gonna put some alcohol on here. As you can see, I cleaned it the last time. It's pretty much spotless, but you know, might as well clean it a little bit more. And I hope this doesn't statically charge them. It's very possible that it does. Alright. Okay, so what we want to do is mount the processor. So you open this lever, or lever, or whatever you want to call it, and then you need the bit of the processor that has a tiny little golden triangle. And that's because you can only mount these things one way. And the triangle here is on this side. So effectively, your processor will be mounted with the pins. Hope all the pins are good. Yeah, see, here's that little triangle. There's one on the other side as well, and here's a triangle that will be mounted like this with the letters. These pins are bent a little bit. That sucks. So the last time I tore it out, something went wrong. That is not nice. I'm afraid I'm going to have to manually bend a few of these pins, which is not something you want to do. But sometimes you have no choice. Hopefully this is not great. Not a good start. So if you're starting from scratch, you will not have to do this. Because it is no fun. This goes in well, this does not. Ay, ay, ay. I can see that the first pin here, I've bent it too much. And these still a little bit out. Maybe I'm doing something super stupid here and I'm going to kill my processor, which would suck. And then I would spend even more money on the newer processor. Come on, fit. They're still a little bit outward. Pointed out just a little bit. It's pretty tricky. You don't want to put too much force on, because otherwise, when you bend them in too much, you're, as they say in Dutch, farther from home. But this worked. So I'm going to. So this is now clicked in place. Good. Now I can try and mount the cooler. First, let me try and get that away from, maybe I'm going to do the power connector first, because that would ground the board. That's probably a good idea. This is gonna be tight because these connectors are a bit, it's a tight fit. Alright. So that's in there. This was connected like so. No. Okay. Before I can mount the cooler, I have to mount the, whatever it's called, the cooling mount. I'm back with the mounting mechanism for the cooler. It's comprised of this rubbery, plasticky base plate that goes underneath, underneath the motherboard. Alright, so one thing you have to bear in mind is that even though this is an AMD motherboard, the actual mounting system of the board is an Intel system. And I think they've done that because it's a bit more low profile. The AMD version is quite big. Obviously this is a mini ITX motherboard, so everything is quite cramped. So I think they chose to use this system. And it works, so that's fine. But you need to know that it's the LGA 115X type of mounting solution. And that means that you need to use these standoffs. These are the ones that have the two sort of identically threaded, gauged ends, or whatever you call them. And not the ones that are here in the bag where one is like this and the other is a higher gauge, a thicker gauge thread, which is shorter. So don't use those, use these. The orientation is a bit difficult to see actually here. We're gonna have to see. I'm gonna ground myself again. Flip this over. And look at these holes. I think it's like this. It can't be like this. No, it's obviously like this, so that's fine. So put these through the holes. There we go. So there's really only one way to mount this, so you're not gonna make a mistake there. Put this back. Okay, so now these are piercing through the holes, and you can just, don't do that. I hate when I do that. Let's ground this. Try and avoid doing that because I always fear that this may cause static electricity discharges. That's the word. So you just screw these in. I guess hand tight's enough. And then these things are what you use. These thumb screws are what you use to actually tighten it once you've mounted the processor, the cooler onto the processor. So since these standoffs are threaded identically on both sides, it doesn't matter which side goes in. At least I hope not. These go in. Hand tight should suffice, I think. So it goes in too. Boom. Now before I turn it on, I'm gonna ask some people whether you can turn it on, when you should turn it on with it flat on the cardboard, this anti-static bag or this sort of foam that it comes with. These are the types of things that I'd want to know before I actually mount it. And one thing that has never been clear to me is exactly how tightly you should bolt these things down. They only say don't bolt them down too tightly. Yeah, but what does too tightly mean, you know? So they usually say don't use a screwdriver. Okay, fine. Do it by hand, but sometimes they're difficult to reach, so it's a bit tricky. Anyway, I'm gonna try and locate my thermal paste. Do not know what. Here we go. And the idea is to just put like one dot on there, like the size of a pea, and I think what they usually say. Is that dust or is it? Yeah, no? No, it's just a scratch. All right. So you put like the size of a pea just in the center of the processor. I'm gonna I think that should do. And then purely by the pressure of mounting that thing, it will spread out enough. And that will be it. So you're going to mount this. This has to be inserted. Otherwise, you're not going to be able to put it in once you've mounted it. I've made that mistake before. So this can be a bit tricky because they don't. This time it went down perfectly, but the last time I tried, it didn't really. There was like some tension on those standoffs, so it was difficult to fasten it evenly because if there's pressure, it's like it's squeezing somewhere or it's blocked somewhere, and then you can't really tell if you're using equal pressure because one of those screws is just it takes a lot of force to turn it just because this metal bit is stuck against the screw. Oh god, here we go again. Stop doing that, Evo. So it might be a bit hard for you to see, but all I'm doing is putting these thumb screws onto the thread. Alright. Making them finger tight. That's the word, not hand tight. Finger tight. See, sometimes I make these mistakes in English. I confuse the Dutch word for it, which is handvast, which is pretty much hand fast. It's not that difficult. With finger tight, which is the correct English term for it. So, as a drummer, just going around in circles. This one is not as tight as the others. Just gonna lift it up a little bit. It's always handy to have a little light available so you can sort of check how flush this is. It's pretty flush, but all right, so let's should be okay for now. We're still rolling, so that's good. Okay, so I have that connected. Now, he said mount one RAD module in the A2 slot. That's what we're going to do. And then I guess I'm going to have to mount the GPU as well, and then move my monitor close enough so that I can connect it. Okay, so use one module. So use one module in the A2 slot, which is the one closest to this power connector here. That's the ATX connector. Just make sure you line it up well. There's a bit of tension from this wire here. That's not too handy. But okay, just for this module, that's not a problem. See, you shouldn't do this. You should have the really breadboarded, as they say, and have the power supply not mounted to the chassis, to the computer case. But of course, I'm a little stubborn. I hope this is... It's always a bit difficult to know how much you should press these things down. Looks like... Yes, that's better. The stupid thing is that there's like a locking mechanism here, but not on this side. And it requires quite a bit of force to put that down. So that's tricky. Okay. What I'm going to do now is I'm gonna have to connect this power as well. That's the ATX here. That's actually for the processor. One. That's the other. Okay. That's good. Well, my power supply is called P8, not ATX 12 volt, so that was a bit confusing. I made some notes on the previous manual where I plug everything in, which fan headers do I use for what. I made a picture of that. I'm just going to try and locate that before I proceed. And I'm going to ask my friends, my computer savvy friends, on whether I should have the case, the motherboard directly on the cardboard, or on anti-static pad, or on this foam pad. I'm back. I've asked my friend about this setup, and he said he usually puts that foam underneath and the anti-static in the middle. Let's do that. Wow. Okay. So I also found the pictures of the notes of the previous manual. So now I know that this pump wire should go close to the PCI slot. Yeah, that's this header right here. Parallel pump. What's 16? That's weird. I don't know, so the pump goes here. This is wrong. Pump. pump goes here. The bottom one. Right. So that's the pump, the bottom fans, we don't need those. We can connect the radiator fans, I guess. I just need to get a little Y cable for that. Alright, so we got a little Y cable for those. Click. That's one. That's the other, and then this goes into the radiator fans, and those are here. Just gonna put this. That's gonna be tricky. Yeah, shoot. Nah, you've done it, Evo. Alright. I'm gonna put this on the case. I have to. Oh, God. And I dropped my RAM. Never a good idea. Let's put that back in. Alright, disconnect this. For now, okay, disconnect this again. Don't have to actually. So let's put this radiator up here. So it's out of the way. It's a bit cleaner. Put this power supply back in. That's good. So this should go here. Alright, I'm gonna have to flip this one. Otherwise, it's not gonna fit. So don't fall. Like so I can still hit the power switch. So this one goes here. I'm gonna start using my light. Okay, so this is getting a little bit snug. Okay. Let's see if I can get this in a bit closer. So you can get an idea of what's going on. Oh, okay. So we've got a header over here for the pump. Got a header over here that's connected to those two fans with this Y cable. Now, so this RAM is in there. Yeah, that's all connected. The CPU's connected. I am going to have to install the GPU, otherwise there's no chance of any visuals. So it's a bit long. Let's see if I can get that to fit. So this has like a little hook that needs to go in here. Okay. How the hell am I going to? I'm gonna snug my hand underneath. I can push this in because this is quite tricky. Yeah, that should be secure. Now all I need to do is connect that PCI power supply here. See? That should be it. No, the other way around. So this says PCIe. So this is a bit tricky because it's not a huge card, but it's just sitting on that slot, so it's not the most stable. Fair. This goes back in here. Hopefully, yeah. Hello. There you go. All right. So now, see if I can get a bit more support here. Yeah. All right. So this is connected. The RAM is connected. The CPU is connected. Now I need to get my display out and keyboard and a mouse and see what's going on. All right, so I've got a mouse, well, trackball, USB 3.2. Let's try the normal USB. I've got a keyboard. It's an Apple keyboard, but it's a USB keyboard, so I'm hoping it will just work. Otherwise, I'll get a PC keyboard from someone. I've got my monitor over there, which has two short HDMI leads, so I'm just going to get a longer one. Okay, I got a long HDMI lead. Got some more light, I guess. Got another mouse in case it's necessary. Okay, so the HDMI output goes into the GPU and not onto the motherboard, because in my case the HDMI port here doesn't do anything because my processor doesn't have an inbuilt GPU. So there we go. Now to turn it on, you need to simply short circuit two prongs or pins of the connector that has like the speaker connector, the power button connector, and things like that. So system panel header, power button, and ground. Okay, so it's next to the one that doesn't have a pin. It's the two next to it. So, and the system header can be located here. So the PCI slot right there. Next to the speaker header. So those two. It's not working yet because the power supply is actually not connected. And now it is. I think, yeah. It is connected, so I guess I could. Yep. So now it's power on. All right. That's working, that's working, that's working. GPU is running. So now it should be running its self-tests. that's running out. So it's not. Ooh, so there we go. We have a wafy finally. So that's working well. Let's see if, yeah, my mouse is working. Okay, so I've got 16 gigabytes of RAM, that's working. Processor is working right. Not gonna overclock just yet. What's this tool? So let's see. Hardware monitor, CPU temperature 50 degrees. That's good. Motherboard temperature 24. Oh, that's all good. CPU fan speed 1. That's 323. I guess that's probably the pump. CPU fan 2. That's probably these. Then we have a chassis fan that's not connected at the moment. SB fan speed, I'm guessing that's this one. Yeah, okay. Alright, so that's working. So we're gonna let this run a little bit. We're gonna check the temperatures, I guess. CPU still at 50. Fan mode. So CPU 2, fan 2, that is a pump, no? CPU 2. This is water pump, I think. Yeah. CPU fan 2 water pump. That is a water pump. CPU, no. Alright. So over here you have CPU fan 1 water pump. To that I connected the bottom fans. CPU fan 2 water pump. CPU fan 2 water pump. That is a water pump. Wow. This is silent mode. So this is a fan, yeah, it's a chassis fan. Water pump speed. CPU fan 1 speed. CPU, fan 2, water pump. Yeah. Control mode. Should be good. CPU temperature 51 degrees is all very good. Motherboard temperature is good. Yeah. All right. So this is good. Okay, so I'm going to exit, I guess. See what that does. I'm gonna turn it off, install the other RAM module, see what that does. Didn't want to reset. Oh well. That's all good. Alright, now turn it off. Going to install the other RAM. I hope I didn't break it. Jesus Christ. What the hell's going on here? Wow. Okay. Reboot. 2 sticks of RAM, looks good. Good. 32 megabytes of RAM, that all looks good. That works. Okay. That works. Now I'm gonna leave it running for a while to get the... Actually, I'm going to leave it running silent mode to get the temperature up a little bit, because I need to remove the... This is a step that you don't have to do. I'm going to remove the processor again, because I'm going to install another Wi-Fi card. Actually, I might not have to remove it. I'm going to see if I can keep it on. I'm going to, yeah, I'm going to definitely see if I can keep it on. I'm going to change the Wi-Fi card. And, so there we go. Yeah, I'm going to change the Wi-Fi module to be more compatible with other OSs. Not necessarily going to install any other OS than Windows on this machine, but I'd like to have the option. Because when I was running on a Mac Pro, I also like to have the option to run Windows, because it saved me once. When my software wasn't working well on Mac anymore, it was working decently on Windows, so I could continue working on Windows. So, yeah. This seems to work fine. Alright, so I'm going to turn this off. And I'm going to... Yeah. So I'm going to turn this off. I'm going to take off the GPU again. Going to take off the RAM, maybe not. We'll see. And then step 2 is the motherboard modification. So there we go.